Hello again, young Star Trek fans. I have another Which Way book. So another book in which I get to choose my way through this. And, well, it could be very short or it could be long. I guess I'm just going to have to rely on my Starfleet training. And we'll see how far we can make it through Star Trek PHASER Fight. Let's give it a shot. Okay, it says here, you are a young Federation ensign who has shown a great deal of promise. You have a deep interest in science and medicine, as well as a love of action. And finally, you've gotten your wish. You've been beamed aboard the Enterprise in order to receive special training by the crew of the most famous starship in the fleet. You're terribly excited and nervous as you introduce yourself to Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Dr. McCoy. Seen on page 2. The captain smiles at you, trying to put you at ease. Starfleet Command must think a great deal of you, he says. And I'm sure I speak for my fellow officers when I say that we're all very pleased to be part of your education. I just hope I don't get in anyone's way, you answer modestly. I'm sure you'll be a great help around here, says Dr. McCoy. I don't often agree with the good doctor, admits Mr. Spock. But in this case, I must concur. It is good to have you aboard. You are enormously relieved with the warm reception you've received. But now Kirk asks which one of the three of them you want to be assigned to first. Whom shall you choose? Will it be Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, or Dr. McCoy? Well, my friends say that I'm most like Dr. McCoy, so I guess I'll go to page 16. So, you want to see how an old country doctor does his job? McCoy asks gruffly, as he leads you to sickbay. Before you can answer, he says, You'll find that there isn't too much to learn because everybody on board the Enterprise is in peak physical condition. Frankly, he admits, being a doctor on the ship can be awfully boring sometimes. But when you reach sickbay, both you and Dr. McCoy, especially Dr. McCoy, are astonished to see a long line of horribly ill crew members waiting for help. Turn to page 22. All right. And page 22. It's an epidemic, cries McCoy. Later, as Bones conducts medical tests, you see wrinkles and beards begin to form on the faces of the sick crew members. Dr. McCoy, you exclaim, I know what's wrong. Bones turns around, and you see that he suddenly looks older, too. Everyone is aging at an incredible speed, you declare, including you. The ship's doctor nods grimly, and then he points and says, You've caught the disease yourself. You look twice your age. We've all got it. According to my calculations, if we don't find a cure soon, we're all going to die of old age within the next 2 hours. Ooh, only 2 hours. Better read fast. Hurry to page 31. All right, going to page 31. I haven't really had many choices so far. Okay. Dr. McCoy runs blood samples from the aging crew through the ship's computer. According to my readout, he announces, I think I can make a serum. But after he fixes up a test tube full of a dark, bubbling liquid, he thinks he might have left out an important ingredient. Time is running short. The crew is now 20 years older than they were just an hour ago. You've got to make a decision. For the sake of speed, should you volunteer to test the serum on yourself? The result could be fatal. Or should you take the more cautious route and recommend that Bones try making another batch and hope that it won't take too long? Well, in this, I think we got to go with the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. So I'm going to take the serum. Page 51. This could be the end of it. I still think it's the correct decision, but this could be the end of it. Dr. McCoy is about to take a swallow from the test tube when you grab it out of his hand. You're too important to risk poisoning yourself, you exclaim. If this formula doesn't work, you've got to be alive to make another. And with that, you take a big mouthful of the bubbling dark liquid and force it down your throat. As bad as it tastes, it makes you feel even worse. You start to sweat, your tongue swells up, you can hardly breathe, and you suddenly collapse in a heap. Okay, now we gotta turn to page 63. I suppose this is the end. Oh, not yet. As you lie unconscious on the floor, your mind is filled with a vivid image. In a sky full of swirling stars, you see a huge green hand reach out to crush the Enterprise. The picture you see seems remarkably real. You hear a voice in your brain saying, "A disease must be destroyed, and anyone infected by it must also die before it can spread." You might be having a simple nightmare, or you might be getting a glimpse into the future. What do you think it is? Oh boy, I glimpse into the future. I don't know. It's simply dreaming. Page 78. Yeah, this could be it. Oh, it could always be it. That's the thing. Well, yeah, I was right. When you wake up, Dr. McCoy, who is beginning to look like the oldest man you've ever seen, hovers over you asking, "Do you feel any different? Did anything happen?" You remember the image of the green hand reaching out to crush the Enterprise, but you're sure it was nothing more than a nightmare. After all, who would believe such a thing? If you told Dr. McCoy about it, he'd think you were crazy. You keep silent until all of a sudden giant green fingers rip through the shell of the Enterprise. One of the fingernails just misses you. Not that it matters. The Enterprise is quickly crushed into a tiny ball. You saw the future. Too bad, though, that you're not going to be in it. And yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Well, that was fun. Not too long. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to follow my Starfleet training as best I could, but, maybe I was wearing a red shirt. Who knows? Anyway, this is Daddy Star Trek signing off.